So a couple years ago, I bought my very first film camera, and at the time I had no experience or any knowledge on shooting film, but I wanted to try it out anyway. I had been shooting digital for a while now, and I wanted to see what film photography was like. So I picked up my first roll of film and went out to shoot. But unfortunately, due to my lack of knowledge, I accidentally exposed the film to light and ruined all my images. After actually doing some research and finding out that you have to develop your film, scan it, and all that, I quickly lost interest because it seemed a bit too complicated and costly, so I set aside the film camera and I continued to shoot digital. Now, I've been shooting digital ever since I bought my first camera back in 2020, and I fell in love with being able to capture scenes around me and turn that into art. But as I improved my photography and I started to pick up freelance shoots, photography started to become more of a job rather than a creative pursuit. And as a result, photography started to become a bit boring for me. But recently, shooting film has popped up all over my social media feed, and I've realized that when you're limited to 36 shots, you have to be much more intentional with what you're shooting. You can't just mindlessly spam photos anymore, you actually have to slow down, and you can't even see what the photos look like until you develop it. I thought it was the perfect challenge for me, and a way to be creative with my photography again. So I busted out the film camera, loaded it up with some film, and today we're going to try to develop that film by myself. First, we need to mix our chemicals together. So I have 3 chemical storage bottles here, and then we have the C41 kit. All right, we got our 2 beakers here to mix our developer and our Blix, and then right there we have the sous vide machine to heat up our water and our chemicals. Color developer part A. Part B. Part C. That was pretty bad. Okay, time to mix our Blix. Blix part A. Part B. Oh. Now we have Blix part C. Now we'll put this in to maintain the temperature of 102 degrees. Last part is stabilizer. Now that our chemicals are mixed, I'm going to change the film into the Patterson tank. This here, and then the lid. Yo, this is actually stressful. Reeling the film in. Take the lid, screw it on. Our film's in there. Should be good. So we'll pour the developer for 3.5 minutes. And agitate for the first 10 seconds. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to pre-soak the film with water. Okay, next is Blix. Blix for 8 minutes. All right, now guess what we have to do? We have to wash it for 3 minutes. I think that's good. We got photos. You get that? We got photos. I could not be happier with how this whole process turned out. I honestly thought I was going to open the reel to a blank roll, but when I saw those first few frames, I was so relieved. When I first looked at those photos, I could remember exactly what ideas I had while I was taking them, and I could finally see how those ideas turned out. Or it was the complete opposite, and I saw a photo that I completely forgot about. But either way, that element of surprise is what makes film photography special, and it reminds me how much there still is to learn. I mean, I think I've barely scratched the surface. This applies not only to photography, but to anything else in life. You know, you have to continuously learn new things and always challenge yourself so that you always have something to work towards. For me, learning to shoot and develop film was that challenge, and it inspired me to go out and shoot again. Not as a job, not for anyone else, but for fun, just like I did when I first started learning photography. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.